Welcome to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales, where we break down the strategies that drive real revenue growth. Today, Kevin and Sean are joined by Amy Connor, founder of CMO On Loan, to tackle every small business owner's question. Should you invest in sales or marketing to grow your business? Amy shares her expert insights on how sales and marketing can work together to generate high-quality leads and why tracking performance is the key to success. If your sales team struggles to find leads or your marketing dollars seem to disappear without results, this episode is for you. Stay tuned, because understanding the right balance could be the game changer your business needs.
Welcome back to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales. Today, we are lucky, honored, blessed. There's lots of ways I could describe this, to have just a fantastic guest. Kevin's here. He's going to stay quiet for a little bit. Kevin's here as well. This is Sean, and we have with us Amy Connor from CMO On Loan. I have known Amy for, 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
It's been a little bit of time, and Amy has finally agreed to be on our podcast to talk not about sales, but about marketing. I was thinking about basketball. And for those of you that know me, I think about basketball a lot. So at the end of the basketball game, after the game is over, there's all kinds of statistics, all kinds of how did we do? How many rebounds did we get? How many shots did we miss? How many shots did we take? How many shots from the three-point line, from inside the three-point line did we take? All of these statistics that help people get better. Coaches then go through these statistics. They watch the game over on the replay of the game, and they sit down with their players prior to the next game, or maybe depending on the schedule, maybe a game later. And they start talking about what did we do well and what did we do better. And measuring your effectiveness is just part of running a good organization. It's part of running a good team. It's part of running a good company. And Amy, I think what we wanted to talk about with you right now is to talk about how do you measure the effectiveness of salespeople? How do you measure the effectiveness of marketing people and marketing campaigns, marketing ideas? Because the reality is a lot of small companies that are listening to this podcast go, I don't know that I'm getting return on my investment for anything that I do. Because I just don't know how to measure it and figure it all out. So, Amy, what do you think about all that? And before we get too far into that, why don't you just go a real brief who you are?
Thank you, Sean. My name is Amy Connor. I own CMO On Loan, as Sean said. Our whole point is to help privately held mid-market companies. We want to build their marketing capability and their confidence. That means we come in, whether they have a marketing leader or not, and we help with their foundation. We help get it up and running, do some implementation with them, and then we help them to go on to bigger and better things without us. We're always around. We can stay and advise and all that, but really our goal is to build their confidence and capability. A passion point of ours is marketing effectiveness. I worked in corporations like Procter and Gamble and Luxottica, where marketing was much more of a left brain, Excel-based job than a creative agency, which a lot of people, not good or bad, think of marketing as communications. Communications are super important, but if you don't measure them, just like anything, just like points on the board, or if you get a bunch of turnovers, those matter at the end of the day. And if you're not keeping track of what's leading those results, then that you don't have any idea. And we hear this all the time. Our clients say, or people we're meeting, man, I know I'm doing something wrong. I just have no idea what it is or how to get going. So the key piece is you need to tie whatever you're doing in marketing, and I would put sales and marketing, most of our clients are B2B, and we need to tie that to the business result. You need to know, what is your business goal? Do you want more from your current clients? Do you want more new clients? Great. What do you want to sell to them? Start with simple buckets, and then you figure out how I'm going to reach them, and then you figure out the tactics or the marketing to do it. And then you track that.
That's a great setup. And if you'll allow me, I'd love to dig one layer deeper. And Amy, you and I have a lot of offline conversations about this kind of stuff. What's working well, what's not. But I'm really curious for the owner who's probably listening to this right on the road going, wow, I've got a sales problem. Should I invest in sales or marketing? So can you break apart how you approach a business owner or sales leader who's thinking, I've really got to juice sales, but I'm wondering, should I invest in marketing, maybe a medium, print, digital, in person, or should I invest somewhere else? So can you unpack that from your standpoint as a chief marketing officer?
Absolutely. I think of sales and marketing as a united force going out to the market. As I said, I'm primarily talking about B2B here. In B2C, yes, you're probably going to use a lot more direct to the consumer type mediums. And then I look at the funnel. Always, you should be managing how are you building awareness, increasing interest, gaining commitment, building relationships, hopefully advocacy, and filling that funnel again. So every different tactic has a different purpose. You're buying, I'm totally making this up, print ad in a trade journal. That's awareness. You're not generally going to get any leads from that. So if you're saying that, should I do this or sales? Like you're looking at two totally different levels of the funnel. So what we do first is we look at the funnel. Then we put sales is almost always in that gain commitment. Sometimes your sales teams are asked to go out and do hunting. Sometimes it's along with marketing. So we look very specifically, what's the system? What's the way you're going to market? And then you can say, oh, wow, you know what? My close rate's really good when I have enough leads. My problem is leads. Okay, then you need to go after to get more leads. And then you decide the tactic to reach your target the best. Was that what you meant, Kevin?
Yeah, just from your seat in the org chart, that chief marketing officer, I think that's really valuable for all our listeners to say, this is how we break down sales problems. When somebody has a revenue problem, it's easy to say, I need more sales. But then if you don't have more lead gen, it's impossible to grow the invoiced amount. And so breaking that apart to go, okay, what problem am I absolutely and actually solving here? Whether it's for a manufacturing organization, a professional services organization, these are real relevant problems that we need to start thinking through before we start applying solutions. Sean, any reactions to that?
So I think that's a really big point that you made, Kevin. And I appreciate that you said that, because one of the thoughts I was having as I was listening to Amy talk here was so many of my clients in the past and some of my current clients that don't have a very strong marketing focus in their company, they assume that the salespeople will find their own leads, that the answer to the revenue generation problem is my salespeople need to go find more deals. And that is possible. We've all seen where it's possible for a salesperson through their own best efforts to go out there and find a deal, close that deal, make that revenue happen. However, and I'm really interested in your thoughts, Amy, on this, what do you think is the most effective way to get leads? Is it through salespeople working harder, making more cold calls, doing more networking, blah, blah, blah? Or is it using another way to drive customers that are interested in the product to the company one way or another, using one of those various marketing channels that you described earlier?
I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of what we do is we work hand in hand with salespeople who are overtaxed. They're being asked to be amazing, more account-based salespeople who really take care of them through the whole cycle of whatever client journey they have. And then there's we need growth. Why can't you guys go out and go hunting too? And that's just a lot for one person to take on, and something suffers. When I'm in a situation when we're talking to a client who's dealing with this, first we ask the question to the salesperson, what's your highest and best use? What are the things that you say you do the very best? What are the things that someone else that maybe isn't the high touch, that maybe doesn't know a lot of my clients have very technical products. I don't have all that engineering experience. I don't have all of that, but the salesperson does. So they're the most expensive often and the highest touch. So what can you do? I guess I'd push the question is, what needs to be true to let that person do their very best with a reasonable amount of time, of course, and making sure they're delivering what they need. And then how might a function, a team, whatever, it could be, in some cases, it's more sales support or it could be a marketing that can help come alongside, get aligned on who are we going after, how do we find them, how we've been successful in the past, how would the salesperson have done it if they'd had the time to do it all? And then what are the ways that we can come alongside to get many more names maybe into the queue, that person then doesn't have to do so much work and time. So for me, it's really just balancing the amount of time you want someone to focus on something that really provides the most value to the company and to the customer.
I love that you are saying that you work with salespeople to solve that problem. It's so often in my history that marketing and sales were in some different silos, different parts of the organization, different areas. And I love that you're part of it. And I know that in your history, because you worked for some really big brands that were primarily sold to consumers, that sales was a different thing than B2B sales that we tend to work with today. I love that you say that you're a partner to sales, because that is so important, in especially in these small companies where everybody needs to be working together. It's just reality of life.
Yeah, a lot of times they don't have separate functions, marketing or sales. They are all either in one function, or they all report to the owner, or it is the owner. So being thoughtful about the time first, who are you going after? How are you going to reach them? And how are you going to think of that funnel? We use 4 steps, super simple. How am I going to keep my name out there? How am I going to continue to bring people? Websites, LinkedIn pages, depending what you're selling to, oftentimes are really good. Are those sticky? Do you have a podcast that people can learn about you? Then how's your sales process? How many leads are you actually getting? A lot of times, one of our dilemmas is the sales team doesn't necessarily have all the infrastructure where they are tracking how many quality leads they get. That is a feedback loop that marketing absolutely has to have, or otherwise, I can get you leads. They may be really bad, but I can jam a bunch of people over your direction. You just tell me. But I want to give you the very best lead that gives you the very best chance to close and to really deliver whatever company's value.
That's a great setup for value. Most of what Sean and I talk about is a value-based approach. It would be cataclysmic if Sean and I spent a lot of time talking about discounting. So value is number one. But the thing I want to lean into here with you, I want to use this opportunity as a way to dispel some rumors and to get some head trash out of people's heads. So our audience is owners, operators, leaders in organizations. When you're approaching a mid-market company or a large one, how do they best engage you as a chief marketing officer? And on loan part, the fractional nature of that, because if somebody's a mid-market, they have different internal team resources than maybe a larger company. So how do you help them be ready to engage you well?
The first thing is just be open to a conversation. I can't convince anybody to do marketing. If they don't think they need it, it's not going to work. So being open to saying, maybe I'm not going to put marketing, quote unquote, in a box, but it's growth. And how might I bring in resources to come with my sales team? From there, we would put together what we often call the build and begin implementing process, where we meet you where you are. If you have a bunch of the business strategy or whatever set up, great. If you don't, we'll help say, okay, what could we pull from that? Because that's what you absolutely have to build your business. Your plan is to have a business plan. So we will go through the process to understand your customer, your market, your people, how they talk about the brand or the business, and then with you, build simple structures and processes based on what you can handle. If you have a marketing leader, then we're going to be in the background more, and we help that person with whatever tools, templates, guides they need. If you don't have anything, we're going to create super simple things that you and your team can implement. We stay alongside you as you begin implementing. And then that's what initial process usually looks like with us is we're going to come in, meet you where you are, help build you to the level that you think is the next best, and we agree with you on that. And then you're off to do great things.
This has been awesome. And I warned you at the beginning of our conversation that our 15 minutes together was going to go very fast.
Yes.
I have 17 more questions to ask you, so we don't have enough time. So can you come back and do our next episode, which will be shown next week? And we can then give you a little bit of time and talk about how people can get in touch with you as well at that point, if you don't mind. So as a little bit of a precursor to next week's episode, which I hope everybody comes back and listens to next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m., which is when we'll drop the episode. We're going to start off by talking about measuring effectiveness. So my question to Amy is going to be, hey, Amy, how do I know what's working and what's not working? And how do you measure that? And what are the tools, maybe a little bit down and dirty? So hey, everybody out there, grab your marketing person or your pseudo marketing person. They probably need to listen to next week's episode as well. so we can talk about how do you really measure what works and what doesn't work. Thank you very much, Amy. We look forward to talking to you next week.
What a great episode, Sean and Kevin. And Amy, you were a fantastic guest. Today, we learned just how critical it is to align sales and marketing for better lead generation. Amy broke down why sales teams often struggle, not because they aren't working hard enough, but because they're spending too much time hunting for leads instead of closing deals. When marketing works in tandem with sales, businesses can attract the right prospects and ensure salespeople focus on what they do best, building relationships and closing sales. And speaking of making your business more effective, don't forget the significant actionable item Amy shared, evaluating your marketing and sales alignment. If you don't have a clear system for tracking leads, or if your sales team is stretched too thin, now is the time to take a step back and assess whether your marketing strategy is truly supporting revenue growth. Don't wait. Before the daily grind takes over, block time on your calendar to map out your funnel and identify gaps in your lead generation process. If you ever need help with sales management, or growing your company, Sean and Kevin are here for you. Their contact information is in the show notes, along with a quick assessment you can take to see if your company or sales team is on the right track. We also have Amy's LinkedIn profile in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And don't forget, next week we're bringing Amy back to dive into how to measure marketing effectiveness so you can stop guessing and start making data-driven decisions. If you haven't subscribed to Two Tall Guys Talking Sales, hit that subscribe button right now. Until next Tuesday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, where our special guest will be Amy Connor from CMO On Loan Happy Selling.